The gunshot echoed through Myeongdong's alleyways at 11:47 p.m., followed by the sharp crack of a motorcycle colliding with a produce cart. Sang-hoon rolled across wet pavement, his white shirt blooming red at the waist, black hair plastered to his face. Behind him, 3 black SUVs screeched to a halt, doors flying open. He didn't look back. Instead, he stumbled forward, one hand pressed against the bullet wound, the other gripping the ornate door handle of the Golden Lotus restaurant. The neon sign above flickered pink and gold. Inside, through the frosted glass, he could see the blurred silhouette of a woman wiping down tables. His vision tunneled. The tattoos on his neck seemed to pulse with his failing heartbeat. He pushed through the door, past the empty hostess stand, past the kitchen entrance, following an instinct he couldn't name, until he saw the restroom sign glowing blue in the dim hallway. The door gave way. And there she was. Eva froze, spray bottle in one hand, paper towels in the other, her reflection caught in the mirror behind her. The man who'd just invaded her sanctuary swayed on his feet, blood dripping onto the white tile between them, creating a constellation of crimson drops. "My love," he whispered in English, his accent thick with desperation and something that sounded impossibly like recognition. Then his knees buckled, and he collapsed at her feet. 2 hours earlier, Eva had been balancing trays of bibimbap and listening to Mr. Kim complain about the late-night delivery schedule. She'd worked at the Golden Lotus for 8 months, long enough to become invisible. That's what she wanted. Anonymity. A paycheck. A quiet life in Seoul where no one asked about her past or why a woman with her education was waiting tables in Myeongdong. She'd perfected the art of going unnoticed. Clock in. Smile politely. Serve food. Clean. Clock out. Return to her studio apartment. Repeat. It was a small, safe life, and she'd convinced herself it was enough. But now, standing in the fluorescent-lit restroom with a bleeding mafia boss at her feet and the sound of heavy boots echoing in the restaurant's front entrance, Eva's carefully constructed invisibility shattered like the mirror she'd almost dropped. She should scream. Call the police. Run. Instead, her hands moved with the muscle memory of another life, the one she'd left behind. She locked the door, grabbed the first aid kit from under the sink, and made a decision that would drag her from the shadows into a world where bullets spoke louder than prayers and love was the most dangerous weapon of all. Outside, a woman's voice cut through the chaos, sharp and cold as winter steel. Find him. E-soha wants her dragon back. Alive. Eva's eyes dropped to the unconscious man on her floor, to the intricate dragon tattoo she could now see through his blood-soaked shirt, its scales seeming to shimmer in the harsh bathroom light. Wrong place, wrong time, she muttered, pressing a wadded towel against his wound. But something in her gut told her this was exactly where she was meant to be. Eva's hands trembled as she pressed the towel harder against Sang-hoon's wound. Blood soaked through the white cotton, warm and viscous against her palms. Outside the locked restroom door, boots thundered across the restaurant's hardwood floors. Check the kitchen. A man's voice barked in Korean. Eva understood enough to know they were searching everywhere. She looked down at the unconscious man sprawled across her bathroom floor. His chest rose and fell in shallow breaths, each one a small victory against death. The dragon tattoo on his neck seemed alive in the flickering fluorescent light, its scales rendered in such detail she could almost see them move. Think, Eva. Think like you used to. The storage closet. It was barely 4 feet wide, crammed with cleaning supplies and toilet paper, but it had a door. She grabbed Sang-hoon under his arms and dragged him backward. For a lean man, he was solid muscle and dead weight. Her server shoes slipped on the blood-slicked tile. She bit back a grunt of effort, finally wedging him into the cramped space behind an industrial-sized bottle of bleach and a mop bucket. Stay unconscious, she whispered, pulling the door mostly closed. Just for a little longer. The main bathroom door rattled. Someone testing the lock. Eva stood, grabbed the spray bottle and paper towel she'd dropped, and began wiping down the mirror with deliberate calm. Her reflection stared back, wide eyes, tight jaw, the mask of a woman who'd seen worse things than blood on bathroom floors. She'd worn this mask before, in another life, in emergency rooms where gunshot victims arrived every weekend and questions were dangerous. The door rattled harder. Open up. Occupied. Eva called out in English, her voice steady. She turned on the faucet, letting water run, creating the sounds of normalcy. A pause. Then rapid Korean she couldn't follow. The footsteps moved away, toward the kitchen entrance. Eva released a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. She looked at the trail of blood leading to the closet, grabbed more paper towels, and began erasing evidence with the efficiency of someone who'd done this before, even if she'd sworn she never would again. From inside the closet came a soft groan. "Not yet," Eva hissed. "Don't you dare wake up yet." But his eyes fluttered open anyway, dark and sharp despite the blood loss, focusing on her with an intensity that made her freeze mid-wipe. "Hide," he breathed in English, his accent thick. "They kill you too." "Already figured that out," Eva whispered back. "Now shut up before they hear you." The voices in the hallway grew louder. They were coming back. 2 hours later, the restaurant finally fell silent. Eva had heard Mr. Kim's nervous explanations to the men in black suits, heard them overturn tables in the dining room, heard the woman with the ice-cold voice, E-soha, they'd called her, demand to know if anyone had seen her dragon. Now, in the eerie quiet of 2 a.m., Eva locked herself in the bathroom with her unwanted patient and the first aid kit she'd stolen from the kitchen. Sang-hoon sat propped against the wall, conscious but pale. His white shirt was ruined beyond saving. Eva had already cut it away with kitchen shears, revealing a torso mapped with ink and scars. "This is going to hurt," she said, laying out supplies on the counter with practiced precision. Tweezers, gauze, antiseptic. A bottle of soju she'd grabbed from behind the bar. "I'm not a surgeon." "You were something medical," Sang-hoon said, watching her hands. "The way you move. The way you touch the wound. You have training." Eva didn't answer. She poured soju over the tweezers, then over his wound. He hissed but didn't flinch away. The bullet had entered just below his ribs on the left side. Clean entry, no exit wound, which meant the slug was still inside. Eva took a breath, remembered the feel of working trauma, and probed the wound with the tweezers. Sang-hoon's jaw clenched. Sweat beaded on his forehead. But he didn't cry out. "Talk to me," Eva said, her voice falling into the clinical detachment she'd perfected years ago. "Keep your mind off this. Why did you run to a restaurant bathroom?" "Instinct," he managed through gritted teeth. "I saw the light. Blue light. Safe." The tweezers clicked against metal. Eva adjusted her angle, feeling for the bullet's position. "And the words you said. My love. That's some kind of code." His eyes found hers, and something shifted in his expression, vulnerability breaking through the killer's mask. "No code. Truth." Eva's hand stilled. "We've never met." "Not in this life," Sang-hoon whispered. "But I dreamed you. Every night for 6 months. Same face. Same eyes. Same woman who would save me when everyone else wanted me dead." The tweezers found purchase. Eva pulled, and the deformed bullet came free with a wet sucking sound. She dropped it into the sink with a metallic ping. "Dreams aren't real," Eva said, but her voice wavered. She'd had dreams too. Dreams of a man with a dragon on his skin, dreams that left her gasping awake in her empty apartment, heart racing with longing for someone she'd never met. She pressed gauze against the wound, applying pressure. Sang-hoon's hand came up to cover hers, his fingers warm and surprisingly gentle. "The dragon on my ribs," he said. "Look at it." Eva hesitated, then shifted the gauze to see the elaborate tattoo that curved around his left side. The dragon's body coiled from his hip to his ribcage, scales rendered in exquisite detail, its head resting over his heart. But what made Eva's breath catch was the dragon's eye. It was looking at something. She followed its gaze to find a smaller tattoo she'd missed. A woman's silhouette, dark-skinned and crowned, standing at the dragon's neck. "I got this 2 years ago," Sang-hoon said quietly. "After the dream started. The artist thought I was crazy." "Who is she?" he asked. I told him I didn't know yet. But I would find her. Eva pulled her hand away, suddenly too aware of his skin against hers. Coincidence? You don't believe that? She didn't. But admitting it meant acknowledging something impossible, something that shattered the careful wall she'd built around her heart. "We need to get you out of here," Eva said instead, securing the bandage with medical tape. "They'll come back. That woman, E-soha, she's not going to stop looking." "She never does," Sang-hoon agreed. "She thinks I belong to her. That the dragon is her weapon, her possession." His eyes darkened. "She's wrong." Eva began packing up the medical supplies, but Sang-hoon caught her wrist. His grip was weak but insistent. "Thank you," he said. "For not running. For not calling them. For—" He trailed off, searching for words in a language that wasn't his first. "For being exactly who I knew you would be." Eva should have pulled away. Should have told him he was delirious from blood loss. Should have maintained the distance that had kept her safe for so long. Instead, she found herself saying, "We should go. Before sunrise." The smile that crossed Sang-hoon's face was small but genuine, transforming him from a dangerous stranger into someone who looked almost hopeful. They made it to Eva's apartment just as dawn broke over the city. Eva had called in sick to work, her voice perfectly calibrated to convey exhaustion without suspicion. Mr. Kim had sounded relieved. The restaurant was closed anyway after last night's incident. Now Sang-hoon sat on her small couch, freshly bandaged and wearing one of Eva's oversized sweatshirts that barely fit his frame. The absurdity of it, a Korean Mafia boss in her living room wearing a Howard University hoodie, would have made her laugh if the situation weren't so deadly serious. Eva made coffee with shaking hands, the adrenaline finally wearing off. "You need to explain," she said, not turning around. "All of it. Why E-soha is hunting you. Why you called me my love like you knew me. Why I should risk everything to hide you. May I ask you something first?" Sang-hoon's voice was soft behind her. "That depends on the question. Have you been having the dreams? The ones that feel more real than waking?" Eva's hand froze on the coffee pot. She turned slowly, meeting his eyes across her tiny kitchen. "How could you possibly?" "Because I see it in your face," Sang-hoon said. "The same recognition I felt when I saw you last night. You've seen me before. In sleep. In that place between worlds where our souls were meeting before our bodies ever did." Eva wanted to deny it. But she was tired of lying, tired of pretending, tired of being invisible even to herself. "For 8 months," she admitted quietly. "Since I came to Seoul. A man with a dragon tattoo. Speaking words I couldn't understand. But I felt." She swallowed hard. "Safe. Like I was finally home." Sang-hoon stood, wincing slightly at the movement, and crossed to her. He stopped just close enough that she could feel his warmth, smell the antiseptic, and underneath it, something cedar and smoke. "In my country, we have a word. Inyan. It means a connection formed over lifetimes. A predestined relationship. Some believe we meet the same souls again and again, in different forms, until we get it right." His hand lifted, hovering near her cheek. "Without touching. I think we've been looking for each other for longer than one lifetime, Eva." "That's impossible," she whispered, but she didn't move away. "Is it? More impossible than me stumbling into the one restaurant in Seoul where the woman from my dreams works? More impossible than you having the exact skills to save my life? More impossible than this?" He finally touched her, fingers gentle against her jaw, and the contact sent electricity racing through her veins. Eva closed her eyes against the sensation, against the rightness of it. "I can't do this. I came here to disappear. To be no one. To finally have peace." "I know about running," Sang-hoon said. "About becoming invisible to survive. I've been E-soha's weapon for 5 years. Her dragon. I've done terrible things in her name. Things that haunt me." His thumb traced her cheekbone, impossibly tender. "But every night, I dreamed of you. And in those dreams, I wasn't a killer. I was just a man who'd found something worth living for." Eva opened her eyes to find him watching her with devastating honesty. "Why did you run from her?" "Because she wanted me to kill an innocent. A child." His jaw tightened. "I've killed many people, Eva. Men who chose this life, who knew the risks. But a child. That's where my soul drew a line E-soha couldn't cross. So I refused. And in her world, refusal means death. The bullet, Eva said, understanding dawning. She shot you. Her second in command. Dehan. A man I thought was my brother. Sang-hoon's smile was bitter. E-soha told him to bring back the dragon or bring back proof of my death. He chose the latter. But his aim was off, or maybe he hesitated. I'd like to think he hesitated. Eva stepped back, her mind racing through scenarios and consequences. They'll search everywhere. This apartment. I know. We have maybe a day before they find us. Sang-hoon caught her hand before she could pull away completely. I'm not asking you to die for me, Eva. I would never ask that. But I am asking you to trust that we didn't find each other by accident. That maybe, just maybe, we've been circling each other across time and space, and now we finally have a chance to make it right. The coffee maker beeped. Forgotten. Eva looked at their joined hands, her dark fingers intertwined with his tattooed ones, two people from different worlds connected by something that defied logic. I was a nurse, Eva said suddenly. In Atlanta. I worked trauma at Grady Memorial. I saw gunshot victims every day. Stabbings. Beatings. I saved who I could. I grieved who I couldn't. She met his eyes. Then one night, the wrong person came through those doors. A gang member I'd treated months before. He saw me, remembered me, decided I was a loose end. He followed me home. Sang-hoon's grip tightened on her hand. I killed him, Eva said flatly. Self-defense. The police cleared me. But his crew didn't care about legal distinctions. So I ran. Changed my name. Crossed an ocean. Became invisible. She laughed without humor. And now here you are, dragging me back into the exact violence I was running from. Then let me go, Sang-hoon said, even as everything in his expression begged her not to. I'll walk out that door. You can return to your invisible life. I'll find another way to survive. Eva studied his face, the sharp angles, the exhaustion, the hope he was trying so hard to hide. She thought about the dreams that had haunted her for months. Thought about the hollow feeling that had followed her across continents. Thought about the moment in the bathroom when he'd whispered my love and something in her soul had answered yes. You're not going anywhere with a fresh bullet wound, she said finally. Medically speaking, you'd probably die in an alley somewhere. And after all that work removing the bullet, I'd really hate to waste my efforts. The hope in Sang-hoon's eyes blazed brighter. Medically speaking, of course. Of course. Eva poured 2 cups of coffee with steady hands. So, you said we have maybe a day. Then we need a plan. Sang-hoon accepted the coffee, his fingers brushing hers in a touch that felt like a promise. We stay together. We move smart. And we find a way to end this that doesn't end us. Together, Eva echoed, testing the word. It felt foreign on her tongue, she'd been alone for so long. But it also felt right in a way that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. Together, Sang-hoon confirmed. He raised his coffee cup. To Inyan. To predestination. To finally finding each other. Eva clinked her cup against his, sealing whatever fate they were stumbling into. To not dying in the next 24 hours. I feel like that should be our first priority. His laugh was rough but genuine. Very practical. This is why we work. Outside her window, Seoul woke to another day. Somewhere in the city, E-soha was mobilizing her forces. Somewhere, men with guns were showing Eva's picture to street vendors and cab drivers. Somewhere, a hunt was beginning that would only end in blood. But in this moment, in this small apartment that smelled like coffee and antiseptic and possibility, 2 people who'd been looking for each other across dreams and distance finally stood on the same ground. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Eva just hoped they'd both survive to find out if soul connections were real or if they were both just 2 broken people desperate to believe in something bigger than their own violence. The knock on her door came 3 hours later. Heavy. Authoritative. Unmistakably dangerous. Eva and Sang-hoon locked eyes across the room. Bedroom, Eva mouthed. Now. The knock came again, harder this time. A woman's voice filtered through the door, cold, cultured, and absolutely certain. Eva Thompson. Or should I say Eva Richardson? Yes, we know all about Atlanta. About Grady Memorial. About Tyrell Jackson bleeding out in your hallway. A pause. Open the door. Let's talk about the dragon you're hiding. I promise to make it quick. E-soha had found them. Eva didn't open the door. Instead, she called through it in her steadiest voice, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm calling the police. E-soha's laugh was light and terrible. Please do. I'm sure they'd love to discuss the man who died in your apartment back home. Self-defense, the court said. But we both know there's always more to the story, isn't there? Sang-hoon appeared in the bedroom doorway, a gun Eva didn't know he'd been carrying held low and ready. She shook her head sharply. Shooting through the door would only confirm his presence and bring every cop in Seoul down on them. I work at Golden Lotus, Eva said, stalling. If someone was in the restaurant last night, I didn't see them. I was in the back most of my shift. Your manager says you called in sick this morning. First time in 8 months. Quite a coincidence, don't you think? Fabric rustled against the door. E-soha was settling in, confident in her position. I'm a patient woman, Eva. I can wait. Or. A pause heavy with threat. I can have my men enter through your bedroom window. You're only 4 floors up. Quite manageable for the Red Scorpion squad. Eva's blood went cold. She glanced at Sang-hoon, who had already moved to the window, peering down at the alley below. He held up 3 fingers. 3 men, probably already in position. They were trapped. What do you want? Eva asked, buying time while her mind raced through impossible scenarios. A conversation. Face to face. No weapons. No violence. Just 2 women discussing the return of stolen property. E-soha's voice turned silk-wrapped steel. The dragon belongs to me. He always has. Whatever story he's told you, whatever promises he's made, they're lies. Sang-hoon is very good at making women believe they're special. But you're not the first nurse he's seduced for medical care, and you won't be the last person he betrays when survival demands it. Eva's eyes met Sang-hoon's across the room. He shook his head emphatically, then pointed at his heart, at her, at the space between them. The gesture was desperate and eloquent. If I open this door, Eva said carefully, how do I know you won't just kill us both? Because I need the dragon alive. His skills, his connections, his reputation, all very valuable. You, however. E-soha trailed off meaningfully. You're a complication. But complications can be managed. Open the door, step aside, and I'll let you return to your invisible little life. You have my word. The word of a crime boss, Eva muttered. Better than the word of a dead woman, E-soha countered. You have 30 seconds. Then my men come through the window, and whatever happens happens. I'd hate for you to become collateral damage, Eva. You've already had enough violence in your life. 29 seconds. Eva's hand moved to the deadbolt. Sang-hoon crossed the room in 3 silent strides, catching her wrist. Don't, he breathed. She'll kill you the moment she has me. I know her. And if I don't open it, her men come through that window and we both die, Eva whispered back. At least this way. At least this way, I can protect you. He pressed something into her palm. A phone. There's a number in here. Jae-sung. He's the only person in Seoul I trust. If this goes wrong, call him. He'll get you out of the country. 20 seconds, E-soha called. I'm not leaving you, Eva said fiercely. Sang-hoon's hand cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheek in a caress that felt like goodbye. You saved my life last night. Let me save yours today. He kissed her forehead, quick and devastating. Remember what I said about In-yun. If we're meant to find each other, we will. Across every lifetime. But you have to survive this one first. 15 seconds. Eva gripped his hand tight enough to hurt. What are you going to do? What I've always done. Sang-hoon's expression shifted, hardened, became the mask of the dragon. I'm going to negotiate. And if negotiation fails? He checked the gun's magazine with practiced ease. I'm going to remind E-soha why she needed the dragon in the first place. 10 seconds. This is insane, Eva breathed. Yes. Sang-hoon smiled, and it was the saddest thing Eva had ever seen. But insanity is all we have right now. He released her hand and moved to the door, positioning himself to the side where he'd be hidden when it opened. He nodded at Eva. She took a breath, sent up a prayer to any deity that might be listening, and opened the door. E-soha stood in the hallway wearing a white suit that probably cost more than Eva's yearly salary. She was beautiful in the way a blade was beautiful, all sharp edges and lethal precision. Her eyes swept the apartment with predatory assessment, noting the 2 coffee cups, the oversized sweatshirt draped over the couch, the drops of blood Eva had missed on the floor. He's here, E-soha said with satisfaction. She stepped across the threshold without invitation. Sang-hoon. Don't hide like a coward. It's beneath the dragon. Sang-hoon emerged from behind the door, gun pointed at E-soha's head with rock-steady hands. And killing children is beneath humanity. Yet here we are. E-soha didn't flinch. She studied him with the clinical detachment of a scientist examining a particularly interesting specimen. You look terrible. The American patched you up. Better than your butcher Dahan's aim, Sang-hoon said coldly. Where is he, by the way? Still pretending to be my friend while taking your orders. Dahan is preparing for your return. E-soha's gaze slid to Eva. You can go now. This doesn't concern you anymore. She stays, Sang-hoon said. She's the only reason you're not already dead. I owe her that much courtesy. How romantic. E-soha's smile was poison-sweet. But romance is a luxury neither of you can afford. The Tanaka family knows you refused their contract. The Red Scorpions are embarrassed by your defection. The council wants your head on a pike to maintain order. She tilted her head. You have no allies, no resources, no hope. Come back to me. Accept your punishment. And maybe, I'll let your nurse live. No, Sang-hoon said simply. No. E-soha's eyebrows rose. Just no. After 5 years of loyalty, you throw everything away for what? Some woman you met in a bathroom. Some ridiculous notion of redemption. Her voice turned sharp as glass. You're a killer, Sang-hoon. That's all you've ever been. That's all you'll ever be. The dragon doesn't get to retire. The dragon doesn't get to fall in love. The dragon belongs to me until I decide otherwise. Wrong, Eva said, surprising herself. Both E-soha and Sang-hoon turned to look at her. She stepped forward, planting herself between the gun and the crime boss. He doesn't belong to anyone. Least of all someone who treats human beings like weapons to be stored and deployed. E-soha's eyes narrowed. Brave. Foolish, but brave. Sang-hoon, move your nurse before I lose patience. She's right, Sang-hoon said quietly. I've been your weapon for 5 years. I've killed for you, stolen for you, destroyed lives for you. But I'm done. The dragon is dead. There's only a man now. A man who wants a chance at something different. There is nothing different. E-soha's composure cracked, revealing the rage beneath. There is only power and servitude, predator and prey, killer and victim. You chose your side when you put that dragon on your skin. When you took your first contract. When you became mine. I was never yours, Sang-hoon said. You just convinced me I had no other choice. E-soha moved faster than Eva would have thought possible. Her hand went to the small of her back, emerging with a compact pistol that she leveled at Eva's chest. Then watch her die. Watch what your choices cost. Time slowed. Eva saw Sang-hoon's face drain of color, saw his finger tighten on his own trigger, saw the calculation in E-soha's eyes. 3 people, 2 guns, 1 second to decide who lived and who died.
The apartment door exploded inward. Men in tactical gear flooded the room, not E-soha's Red Scorpions, but something else. They wore black with crimson accents, moved with military precision, and had their weapons trained on E-soha before she could fire. Drop it, the lead man commanded in Korean accented English. He was tall, scarred, and looked at Sang-hoon with something between respect and concern. Both of you. Now. E-soha's gun lowered fractionally. Jae-sung. I should have known. You should have, the man, Jae-sung, agreed. When Sang-hoon activated the emergency signal in his phone, my team mobilized immediately. We've been in the hallway for the past 5 minutes, waiting for the right moment. His eyes found Eva. You must be the nurse. He called you his Inyeon. His fated connection. Eva's mind reeled. The phone, she said, looking at Sang-hoon. You activated a signal. Insurance, Sang-hoon admitted. I wasn't sure Jae-sung would come. We parted on difficult terms. But I had to try. You left the Crimson Lotus to work for this woman, Jae-sung said, disgust clear in his voice as he gestured at E-soha. You abandoned your brothers, your oath, your honor. I should let her have you. But you won't, Sang-hoon said quietly. Because you remember who I was before. Who I could be again. Jae-sung was silent for a long moment. Then he sighed, lowering his weapon. The Crimson Lotus offers you sanctuary. Both of you. But you'll owe us, Sang-hoon. The debt will be steep. Whatever the cost, Sang-hoon said immediately. As long as she's protected. E-soha laughed, the sound brittle and sharp. Sanctuary with the Lotus? You think they're any different than me? You're just trading one master for another, one cage for another. She looked at Eva with something that might have been pity. Run while you can, American. The dragon will bone you eventually. They all do. Take her, Jae-sung ordered his men. They moved to flank E-soha, who went willingly but with the dangerous calm of a predator biding its time. At the door, she paused. This isn't over, Sang-hoon. The dragon is mine. It always will be. You can hide with the Lotus, you can play house with your nurse, but eventually, you'll remember what you are. And when you do, I'll be waiting. Then she was gone, escorted out by men who looked like they'd enjoy an excuse to use their weapons. The apartment fell silent except for Eva's ragged breathing. She realized she was shaking, adrenaline crashing through her system now that the immediate danger had passed. Sang-hoon reached for her, but Jae-sung stepped between them. Not yet. We need to debrief, secure the location, and move you both before E-soha's people regroup. He studied Eva with clinical assessment. Can you walk? Do you need medical attention? I'm fine, Eva managed. Just, give me a second. You have 30, Jae-sung said, already on his phone coordinating extraction. Pack light. Bring nothing that can be traced. We're burning this location and everyone's going dark. Eva looked at her small apartment, her sanctuary for the past 8 months, the place where she tried so hard to become invisible. Coffee cups still sat on the counter. Her nurse's textbooks lined the shelves. Photos of her family back in Atlanta sat on the dresser. I can't take any of it, she asked quietly. Jae-sung's expression softened fractionally. I'm sorry. But anything you leave behind can't lead back to you. That's the trade for staying alive. Eva nodded, swallowing past the tightness in her throat. Another life left behind. Another version of herself erased. She'd done this before, but it didn't get easier. Sang-hoon appeared at her side, close but not touching. I'm sorry, he said. This is my fault. All of it. No, Eva said, looking at him. Really looking at him. E-soha's right about one thing, I could run. I could tell Jae-sung to protect me separately, to get me out of Korea, to erase any connection to you. I'd probably be safer that way. Yes, Sang-hoon agreed hoarsely. You would be. But I won't. Eva reached out, took his hand, felt the rightness of the connection even surrounded by chaos and violence. Because maybe I'm tired of running. Maybe I'm tired of being invisible. And maybe, just maybe, I believe in Inyeon. In fated connections. In finding the person who makes you want to stop hiding and start living. She squeezed his fingers. So whatever comes next, we face it together. Deal. Sang-hoon's eyes shone with something that looked dangerously close to tears. Deal. Touching, Jae-sung said dryly. Now pack. We're moving in 3 minutes, and if you're not ready, we're dragging you out anyway. Eva grabbed what she could, a change of clothes, the phone Sang-hoon had given her, a photo of her mother she couldn't bear to leave behind. Everything else stayed, pieces of a life that had been temporary anyway. As they left the apartment, Eva paused at the threshold, looking back one last time. She'd come here to disappear. Instead, she'd found herself standing next to a man with a dragon tattoo, about to walk into a war she didn't understand, for reasons that defied logic but felt truer than anything she'd experienced in years. No regrets? Sang-hoon asked softly beside her. Eva thought about it, really thought about it. Then she smiled, surprising herself with the genuine joy beneath the fear. Not a single one. They stepped into the hallway together, into whatever future two souls who'd found each other across dreams and distance could forge in a world built on violence and survival. Behind them, the door closed on Eva Thompson, invisible waitress, unremarkable refugee, woman who'd spent years trying not to be seen. Ahead of them waited whatever Eva would become next, partner, fighter, maybe even the kind of person who could love a dragon and not get burned. She squeezed Sang-hoon's hand as they followed Jae-sung into the unknown, and felt him squeeze back. Together. If you've made it this far, you're officially part of the journey, and trust me, it only gets more intense from here. Sang-hoon and Eva survived the council meeting, but E-soha isn't done. Not even close. The dragon's final confrontation is coming, and what happens next will change everything. Hit that like button if you team Sang-hoon and Eva. Let me know you're rooting for them. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2. We've got betrayals, impossible choices, and a showdown that will leave you breathless. Plus, I want to know, do you believe in Inyan? In souls finding each other across lifetimes? Drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from. Seriously, I love seeing how far this story is reaching, from Seoul to Lagos to your city. Let me say hello. And if you're dying to know what happens next, the next episode drops soon. Will they survive E-soha's final trap? Will they ever make it to Lagos and that clinic they're dreaming about? Or will the dragon's past destroy their future? Stay tuned. This story isn't over yet. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is choose love in a world built on fear. See you in the next one. Dragon Red Heart #.